In the rainforest, winter is the season of sun. It fills the orchards with glowing light and the fruit drip in gold. This week, apart from caring for all of the animals, we've been busy starting a new project, harvesting bamboo to begin a camper build on the back of my little truck. We balance these new crafts with plenty of moments appreciating the warm winter sun on our skin.
Oh, you're so big. You're so beautiful.
At this time of year, the sheep don't like to leave this paddock. The kiwi vines are so heavy with fruit, so they wait, laying in the sun, and each moment that a ripe kiwi drops from the vine, they race to it and gobble up the delicious fruit. Aphrodite normally wins the race, and she probably eats hundreds of kiwis every day. She's the leader of the flock, and no sheep get in the way of her when she wants a kiwi. Aphrodite is 8 years old, and she's the granddaughter of the first sheep ever born on the farm. She doesn't go anywhere without her twin brother Lanky Boy by her side.
No, you've already eaten lots. Aphrodite.
And now she has her own babies, 2 more twins, Cherub and Poet. And also, along her motherhood journey, she managed to adopt another lamb, Panini, who lost her mum to a snake bite. So now this little family is inseparable.
We've neglected this orchard for way too long and it's very much starting to fall down. The whole orchard is not going very well. The poles aren't strong enough to hold up the vines because they've gotten so big, and especially when they're full of fruit, it's just all starting to fall down. So we need to fix it. This is how big the vines have gotten. They're like trees now. But the sheep are happy because they love all of the fallen fruit, so they just wait here most of the day waiting for fruit to fall and then they eat it. The most spoiled sheep in the world. No, that's a ripe one. I'm gonna eat that. That's for me. This is an old creek bed, and that's why there's these huge boulders everywhere, because once it would have been a raging river, but now it's a creek flat, and that's why it has really nice soil, because it's alluvial soil from the creek bed still, and that's why it grows such good kiwis and different fruit. Yum. These are devil's figs, which are exactly how they sound. They're the worst weed in the world. And we've been trying to pull these ones out for so long now, and every time we do, another one comes up, or we forget one and they reseed and there's more of them. So these are about the last ones, and I think we can get them today, hopefully. They're very big, so it might be hard. You need to put them up on a big rock if you don't want them to come back, because the roots kind of find their way back into the soil and then they just regrow again. That's how invasive they are. This is our other tool, which is more of a weed puller, and it works on leverage, so you kind of just catch onto the stem and then pull it up, and it really well pulls it out and pulls the root system as well, so that nothing's left behind and it won't come up again.
Bamboo is another invasive weed in this area. It grows really well in this climate, so it spreads fast through the valleys, and patches keep getting bigger and bigger in size. I have an exciting new project. From bamboo, I'm going to build a tiny transformable camper on the back of my truck.
The fresh green shoots that look a lot more green are probably new, whereas the ones that have kind of layers of mold and stuff like that are probably older ones. So I want to be going towards the older ones, but also the older ones are probably further in, which are going to be harder to collect. So this whole forest is a weed of bamboo, so for me to get rid of a small part doesn't seem like much, but at least it's a start to get rid of this invasive weed in the area. So I think harvesting it and using it to build something from is the coolest thing.
It's just a small start to the process of regeneration, especially today when I'm only taking one pole. But by doing this, I hope to show the local community that bamboo can have a purpose in building as well as we cut it down. Being a small woman with not that much strength, I always struggle with the physical parts of living with the land. This is another reason that bamboo is such a cool building material. Sure, I'm still struggling to get this pole out of the bushes, but it's so much lighter than any wood. And normally I wouldn't dream of harvesting my own beam and transporting it home.
This is literally all my weight. It still doesn't budge. Oh my god. Come on. Oh, yes.
So that it will fit on the back of my K-truck, I'm cutting it into smaller pieces. So we have some exciting news. I'm making a new YouTube channel that goes behind the scenes on the building side of things. We always have so many things that we want to share. The animals, the fruit, sewing, painting, building, and just our everyday life in nature. So the new channel, under my name Anastasia, will be an extension of this, but just going more in depth into the building projects, starting with this tiny truck camper. This channel will stay exactly the same, but there's just going to be more over there on the new channel, so check it out.
If you're interested in tiny truck content, then I'm going to be going more in depth into that on my own channel, which I've just made, which is under my name Anastasia Vanderbyl, and on there's going to be more of a in-depth journey into this project and many others.
We always have 1,000 projects going on all at once, and this week, despite starting this tiny truck camper, I've also decided that I want to sew a dress out of gingham fabrics. I think that the inspiration of one project just inspires me to create another project, and the next thing I know, I have a full list of ideas. Sometimes I feel frustrated that I only have one body to complete them, and I wish that I could be in 1,000 places at once, working on 1,000 things. But I know that it is my one body, working slowly and consecutively, that lets me learn from each project and take that knowledge into the next project. And that it is the time spent doing something that's normally the best part. I don't sew for the end product, a dress that I'll wear some days. I sew for the time spent reflecting, the time spent using my hands and my brain in conjunction with each other, and the time spent growing in new knowledge. If anyone tells me that they want to learn to sew so that they can make their own clothes, I tell them to be careful, because honestly, making your own clothes is a slow and tiring and frustrating process where a lot of the time the garment that you make you hate because you made a small mistake or it doesn't fit right or it took so many hours and it doesn't feel like it's worth it. But if you want to sew for your mind, to sit and slowly work through these problems and watch an idea come to life, then it's the perfect hobby for you. I find it like a meditation, the slow hum of the sewing machine and time melting away into the afternoon.
It's looking really cute. I love all the silly colours together. It's feeling great. I just need to come back tomorrow and work on the skirt. I can't decide whether to make it long or short. There's so many options. It's always hard to make a decision, but I'm loving it so far. So I found this jungle of bamboo, and it's a good example of how invasive bamboo is in this climate. This goes for about 100 meters that way, maybe 50 meters that way, and it's this huge patch of bamboo that's just continuing to spread. But I'm going to take a few pieces, and I think that they're a good size and strength for the project I'm doing. So I'll cut a few of them down, not that it's going to help.
You can see in this forest how no other plant is able to grow. The monoculture of bamboo has taken away any biodiversity and left no place for native plants. Bamboo rarely spreads by seeds, and instead it spreads by producing shoots from its rhizomes. There are two types of bamboo, running and clumping, and running bamboo is way more invasive. It takes over massive areas like this one in no time. Clumping bamboo doesn't spread as far, and instead it just stays in a clump, but it also outcompetes native plants and creates dense clumps that harm the ecosystem.
I think I've got 10 or more pieces now, and I think that's enough to call it a day, and I haven't seen a snake yet, and I want to keep it that way, so I'm off.
In this area, many people planted bamboo not knowing the impacts, so there are so many places where bamboo forests thrive. Eradicating it is so hard, so unfortunately it mostly just keeps growing and spreading.
So a problem that I'm having with the dress is that this middle piece keeps kind of folding here. It's because it's bias cut and because this piece of fabric is a little bit more lightweight than others. I shouldn't have used it. It was a mistake, but it's just kind of like not holding because the fabric wants to stretch that way, so then it's just doing that. So I think I'm gonna try to fuse it, and maybe that will harden it so that it doesn't do that, and next time I just won't use that lightweight fabric. I'll try that. That'll be the first option. The second option is unpicking it all and replacing this one square, but that sounds like a lot of work. I think that worked. I mean, it's still doing it a little bit, but when the weight of the fabric is pulled down with the skirt a bit, depending on how much the skirt weighs, I think that's gonna fix it, at least a bit. At the risk of looking too much like a picnic rug, I'm cutting the whole skirt out of this red gingham. I think it's gonna be really cute. And I think there's nothing wrong with looking like a picnic rug. I think that's cute. I was aiming for more Dolly Parton, but picnic rug does that too. So the next step here is just sewing these squares, which will turn into the skirt, into the other patchwork squares here. So I can't decide if I like this handkerchief skirt in the gingham or if it's a bit too much, but I think I like it. It's a lot, but that's kind of fun. I do look like a picnic rug, but I think in a good way. I hope. But I think I'm just gonna make these side bits a bit shorter because I feel like the length that they're ending on is really ugly. And then I think it's good then. Not to be dramatic, but I hate it. So I'm pulling it apart. I guess I am being dramatic, but it's just the skirt looks like a tea towel. It looks like a picnic rug. It looks like a dance costume. It looks like everything you don't want it to look like. So I'm taking it apart. This is the part of sewing that I always forget about when I'm starting a project and I'm like, oh, it'll be dreamy. And then most times there's some sort of moment like this where you question it all, you question why you even sew, if your outfit's gonna end up looking ugly. Not to be dramatic. So I have a lot of sewing projects like this where one thing happens that just makes me hate it, and I think it's a sewer's curse, to be honest, because normally most of the people that are looking at it can't see those things, but it's just because you know it too well that you end up hating it. And I'm desperate for that not to happen with this dress, so I'm changing it. And I'm just changing the flare of this skirt so that it's not so intense, because I think that was the problem. I think that's what was making it look like a dance costume. So I've just taken out a lot of the volume of each square. And I'm gonna try that. Alright, I'm happy with it now. I think I look like a picnic rug, but in a good way now. And before it was too much picnic ruggy. I just took some flare out of the skirt, and I think that Now I'll wear it. I think with some cowboy boots, it's gonna be cute. What do you think, Luke? Hi. You got that? Nothing. I think the cowboy boots make it. I love it now. I love the cowboy drama of it. Hey, Cody! When we started this channel like 4 years ago now, we had no idea what I would become, and I just wanted to say how grateful we are for all of your support, all of the comments on here and the subscribers. It just means so much to us because honestly we started this as a little farm diary and it's grown into what it is today. And I guess this is the reason why we're starting this new channel, to delve a little bit deeper. We get a lot of comments on here asking for more in depth on the building side of things. The channel here is going to stay completely the same, but over there's just going to be more building stuff, so join me, it's going to be fun. So thank you so much, and if you can go support that channel, it would mean the world to us as well. And thank you so much to our patrons. Your support means everything to us. The lantana puller that I was using earlier this week is thank you to our Patreon. So again, thank you for helping us to help regenerate the forest. Ow, don't pat yourself. Ow. Nymph just pats herself when she doesn't get pats, so if you stop patting her, she'll just rub herself against you.